Welcome to Red V TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season. And it feels like there is some life coming back into the game, and we've actually got things to talk about.
Good.
Positives this week. Obviously, we had the disappointment of Luke Thompson's departure, but the hokey cokey is in full force. Kevin.
The hokey cokey?
You've got a Thompson out, a Thompson in, out, out.
Yeah, missed these chats, Dave.
Great, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right then, Joel Thompson. He's not a like-for-like replacement for Luke Thompson, but he is on his way whenever we feel fit to actually announce it ourselves.
It's all but announced over in Australia, I think. Coming in from Manly, he's a second rower. Over 200 NRL appearances. Now, people who watch this will know that I don't watch too much NRL. But going off social media, a lot of the Manly fans are gutted to see him go. Even some of the clubs that he's played for in the past, they're gutted to see him leave the NRL. Just things on the, like he gets through his work really well. He runs good lines, and off the pitch as well. He's a good clubman. He's good in the community, and we spoke about when Justin Holbrook was in charge. And if the club want to keep that connection with the town and the fans, having people like Joel Thompson on board, well, it sounds positive in that regard.
Yeah, obviously he's had a decent NRL career. Listen, the amount of games he's played and the fact he's still holding down a place with that Manly side, you're not a bad player, are you? I've seen a few fans complaining that he was an Aussie coming over the age of 30, but he's 4 years younger than the man he's actually going to replace in Zeb Tyre, who has gone really well for us and was 32 himself when he signed. If he comes over and basically carries on the mantle from Zeb, he'll be a decent signing for us.
Yeah, that's it. People will want him to hit the ground running, but if people can cast their minds back to when we kind of swapped Joe Greenwood for Zeb Tyre, it took Zeb a couple of weeks to get into the swing of things. I know he played Super League before, but it took him the time to get in. With regards to the age, you look at signings coming in from the NRL, and you're going to get one of three types. A young lad who wants a bit more exposure, wants to come over here and kind of shine before going back to the NRL. Your troubled player who's had a bit of issues over in the NRL come over here and kind of get themselves back on the right path before going back home. And unfortunately, you are going to get the ones who are coming to the end of the career and want to come over here for, I don't know, a bit of life experience maybe. And listen, the Super League is such a step down from the NRL. I don't think there's anybody who can argue that. That even these older players are still head and shoulders above a lot of what's currently in Super League, and it shouldn't be seen as we're signing a 32-year-old. He's going to be, by the end of his contract, he's going to be 35. Listen, if he's good enough and he's getting picked in the team and he does everything that he's done over in Australia, he'll go well for us, and there won't be any arguments with it.
Yeah, I think the cynical thing is that some people suggest that some of the Aussies come over for a final payday. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that's the case anymore. I think that's an old, tired cliche. I think you might get the likes of Joel Thompson, who are 32, and will probably look at the state of the career at the moment and think, you know what, I could probably get another year in the NRL. But some players want to prolong the careers and play as long as possible. And coming over here with the chance of a 2 or 3 year deal extends the career playing rugby league, which I'm sure they all love doing, by a couple of years. Chance to get over with the family, as you say, see a little bit of Europe. If you can come over here and slot in and give us a minimum 2 good years, that is all you really want and ask for.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we could have worried about Zeb going into this, his contract extension and this 4th year of his deal. But you know what? Last year, he'll always be remembered as part of that 2019 team. He was flying. That left-hand side of ours has been great for a good number of years. In no small part to Zeb Tyre being part of it. if Joel Thompson, sorry, that's going to be a bit of a slip calling him Luke every so often. If Joel
maybe that should be his nickname.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your nickname, Joel?
Luke. That's it. If he can come in and do half as well as Zeb, then we'll be well served on that side.
He's well known for doing community work in Australia as well, and he kind of fits in with the ethos of the club. I'm sure we look at the background of how people were signing, Ben Barber aside. But it's what you want, isn't it? Somebody who's good in the community as well, and it's the whole round package. Listen. First and foremost, you want them to be able to perform on the field. Anything else is a bonus, but you want somebody who will fit into that playing group, won't rock the boat, and generally be a good team player.
Yeah, can't disagree with a lot of that. That's it. With Ben Barber, you mentioned him. They probably looked at his temperament and who he's worked with in the past, and they will say, listen, there's a player in there, but he's a good bloke to have around. Now, Ben obviously went and sullied his reputation over here by, I mean, there's been plenty of stories about him being told by the club he could go home and for a funeral it was, but he said he wouldn't come back. All of a sudden, that kind of puts any goodwill to one side if he's not going to come back. But that's it. They'll have looked at Joel Thompson and thought, you know what, as you say, it fits in with the ethos of the club. It fits in with us being in contact with the town. If he's going to get involved in half as much as he does over in Australia, it stands us in good stead and we'll keep that connection.
Moving on from Joel Thompson, probably the biggest news of the week is that the man, a former Red V Player of the Year, I might add, is returning to Super League, is returning to St Helens, and will once again don the Red V that he last donned yesterday for St George.
Well, that's it. Again, that's another one that's been confirmed by Australia rather than ourselves.
Did you see his interview, Kev?
We did. I've read his interview. I've not actually seen it.
He very, very nearly said St Helens and just had to stop himself.
Yeah. Well, listen, I put a tweet out yesterday from the coach of St George who said he's got an agreement to go over to where it all began in St Helens, but it all depends on them getting someone in to replace him. The club have done well moving quickly to bring someone in for the rest of the year and give themselves A, the extra body, and B, the kind of breathing space to go out and find a long-term replacement, or at least a longer-term replacement. As has been put in the press, listen, it's no great exclusive for anybody with how it's coming out of Australia that he's to the end of the year, then he's going to go back to Australia and look into a media career over there, which he speaks really well. I
want to discuss that, Kev.
Go on.
Now, obviously, so the word from Australia that is coming over for the rest of the year before he wants to return to Australia to go into a media career. Now, is it me or does that just leave the door ajar slightly? Obviously, if he comes over here and it doesn't go too well, then there's no face lost. He could retire gracefully, go back to Australia, take up a media career. But if he performs well over the 20-odd games that we're going to play between now and the end of the year and feels he's got another year left in him, does that leave the door ajar for another 12 months?
Well, obviously, yeah. It as I say, it gives Saints the breathing space of if he's just till the end of the year, he might turn around and say, you know what, I am definitely doing to the end of the year. I think the trouble with it all is the salary cap and the fact that you've got to almost have that in place a year or two in advance, really. And I think that obviously we've been targeting people. I know James Tamar, who we've been linked with. Yeah. So you're going to have your kind of irons in the fire early. I think if it is going to be for a longer stretch of time, that decision will have to be made quite quickly rather than at the end of the season, because, again, you don't want to leave yourself scrabbling about in the bargain bin for props you want to have the best available squad for you. So if that's going to happen, I'd imagine that'd be a decision made in the first 3 or 4 weeks of him being over here.
Obviously, he's got family over in Australia now. Might be a chance to get them over, give his kids a Scouse accent, allow them to be indoctrinated in the blue half of Merseyside. James, if you want to go to the match and you need tickets, come and see me.
What to say? You can come and see me as well.
Oh no, listen. Mike Rush, Eamon McManus have done really well to persuade James to come back. But let's be honest, if Marco Silva was still the Everton manager, he wouldn't be coming back.
Okay. I'll tell you, I thought Marco Silva was doing a bang-up job for you boys. So.
The chance to come and watch Carlo Ancelotti's Blues to sway for anyone.
To be honest,
we are recording this an hour and a half before the derby, by the way, where we're going to get smashed.
and yeah. Anyway, yeah, leave it there. Is it? But you're saying all this about him being able to come back and watch Carlo Ancelotti's Blues. Is he going to be allowed in the stadium?
Good point. Well made. Damn, I was trying to sell him my ticket. And when he turns up, he can't get in. But yeah, James Graham until the end of the year. It's a good story, isn't it? And I think he made quite clear in his interview to one of the Fox Rugby League journalists, he isn't coming over here to rest on his laurels. I think they asked him what the highlight of his career was. And I think his words were, he hopes that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
You can see, I think quite clearly he wants to come over here and lift another Super League trophy.
Yeah, well, he's going to look at that. If the Challenge Cup can go ahead as well, he's going to be looking at adding a couple of medals to his own personal haul, isn't he? He's not going to want to just come over here, go through the motions. And that's it. A 6-month deal will do great. The one thing, and it's a minor point again, I tweeted out during the week, is the next available squad number for James Graham, if he comes over, is 32. So I wonder if the club shop's going to start stocking up on 3s and 2s if everybody wants Graham 32 on the back of his shirt.
I don't know, Kevin Hardy.
Yeah, why not? Should do. Should be a big push on it. You want to get money into the club after what's been said about a loss in TV revenue. Get some money into the club. Get a deal on. Get Graham 32. You can't have 10 because it's been used by Luke Thompson this year. And by the operational rules, you've got to use the next available number.
Which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll probably get a load of 3s and a load of 2s and forget to order the Gs.
There'll be A's that we struggle for.
Speaking of finances then, Mike Rush, there was a statement on the website this week, just with a little bit of an update about what's going on, thanking the way that the fans and the sponsors and everyone else have stood by the club. In a really tough financial circumstances, obviously we don't know whether fans are going to be let in. It may be like the way the Premier League football is, where no fans at first, and then hopefully maybe come towards the back end of the year, we'll be able to get some fans back into the ground. But the club are still committing, aren't they? They're still trying to get out there. They're signing like James Graham to come back and play for us. You just hope the fans continue to back us. I think I've seen there was news of the TV deal for next year. The club are going to take a $250,000 hit each on that money. So revenue is really important for this club at this moment in time. They've probably budgeted for ticket money between now and the end of the year. We don't know what's going to happen with season tickets, but we'd hope that if fans don't need the money back, that they'll use it for the good of the club and you hopefully be able to get the games streamed and see them that way instead.
Yeah, we had a tweet regarding that and asking what fans' current thoughts on it, on having a season ticket and that maybe getting a refund in the future would be. I'm lucky that I'm in the situation that, you know what, I'm not in the position that I really need that money back. But in a town like St Helens, listen, people will. It's a matter of fact that money will go a long way for some people. If people don't need it, hopefully, then a couple of people can leave the money in the club and help the club along. But as you say, it should temper people's expectations of recruitment as well, because while we'd be looking for, you'd imagine a marquee player possibly to come in, as I say, next season at prop, or if you end up with one of your other players going, if we decide, right, we're going to need to start looking at replacing James Roby and someone, a big name comes available, whether it be from the NRL or over here. It's a tough situation. It's got to temper fans' expectations of recruitment. I know that there was a couple of tweets that went out about the prop that we've been linked with from the NRL, how much money he wanted, the fact that Saints were, I think it was Matthew Shaw put it out, the fact that Saints and him were poles apart in what they were willing to pay and what he wanted. Let's not look at that. Let's just hope the club can keep going and fans can stay behind him, buying merchandise, I don't know, paying into the lottery, things like that, and hopefully the club will still be on a good footing.
Yeah, obviously we've took a big hit with the hospitality, haven't we, this year? Having our own stadium is a massive part of the revenue. I hope, listen, if fans can afford to leave the money in the club, brilliant. You'd hope that fans wouldn't, especially long-term fans, where the money's already been allocated. Even if they did need some back, maybe the club could come up with some sort of scheme where they can have a rebate on the season tickets over so many years, so the hit would be taken over a longer period of time. Listen, I'm sure the financial bods at the club are on to different ideas, and we'd be interested to see what fans think and what sort of ideas that they've got that could potentially help the club. Because, listen, we're not a massive multi-million-pound game, are we? And I think every penny counts. If there's innovative ways to generate revenue, I'm sure the club would be willing to listen.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we mentioned it at the start of lockdown, I think, where we saw clubs offering virtual pies and virtual pints and stuff like that. If we end up playing home games and people can afford to put a $5 in that they usually spend at the game, or a $10 that they usually spend at the game, it'd be good for the club to do something like that. As I say, the club shop, the online club shop is open again. I'm sure that in time, once all the restrictions kind of start dropping, that the actual club shop will be open, so you'll be able to go and tangibly buy things and try them on and whatever. That's it. And you've got the Saints Club Lottery as well that I pay into and have won a tenner off in the past couple of years, but I still dream of winning that grand. I still dream. I'll win that grand one day.
Listen, I've got a great idea. When the games get back underway, Kev, if we're forced to watch on the telly, you can come here, I'll charge you £4 for a pint, and I'll donate 15p of every one sold to the club.
I'll just pay it straight to the club.
Okay. It reminds me of the way some clubs have all these special charity shirts whenever there's a crisis in the world and donate 5% of the profits to whatever charity it is, and people still fall for it. We won't mention names, but anyway. Right, I think we're done and dusted, aren't we?
Yep.
James Graham. Is he younger than us? He's younger than you. He's younger than me.
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he's younger than me.
But yeah.
There's no 39-year-old players. I was Gaz Ellis has got to be younger than me as well. So.
It's like getting the band back together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where's Kyle Eastman these days? Get him back.
No, we don't need Kyle Eastman. Not anymore.
Right. I think we're done and dusted. Who else can we get back? Bill Greenwood? Nah.
There was always a rumour that Gary Wheeler was coming back.
Gary Wheeler? That's the plan. Gary's going to leave Kyle Eastman in the halves next year.
Do you remember that rumour?
That's how we're saving money, Kev. Johnny and Theo were going out and we're getting Gary Wheeler and Kyle Eastman in the halves.
I don't know who else you want back.
Jamie Foster for kick goals.
Okay.
You can do lockdown haircuts as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we're definitely done at 20 minutes.
Yeah, do yours again.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Catch you soon. Bet Kev Cunningham's still watching.
Yeah, definitely.